You see this, you don't need it. You see this, you don't need it. So let's discuss some of the things we need to succeed as a poultry farmers. Yes, as a poultry farmer, there are some basic things we need to really succeed as a poultry farmer. And in this video, we are going to be discussing three things we need to succeed as a poultry farmer. The first thing we are going to be discussing, which is the first part of this video, is the basics of poultry farming. The second thing we are going to be discussing is drug usage. Do we really need drugs, antibiotics to succeed in our poultry farm or not? What are the necessary things we need to succeed in our poultry farming? The last thing we are going to be discussing is how to achieve optimal weight in broiler farming and how to achieve best production when keeping layers, that is the pullets or the lean hens. So you're welcome back to the channel. If you are new to this channel, do well to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up at the end of everything, or if you feel you are getting value or about to get value at the end of this video. So like I said earlier, the first thing we need is the basis of broiler farming. What are the basis of broiler or poultry farming? The basis of poultry farming is to understand the dynamics of poultry. Why fear have been put into us as a beginner or as somebody who is an intermediate in this business, and you are still having that fear you were having from the basics or from the beginning is still affecting you. While all those things are still happening to you, there are some necessary things you need to understand, because as a beginner or as an intermediate, the first thing or what we go to attack first is the middle of an ocean. Yes, let's look at it as you are trying to understand an ocean, and the first thing you want to do is to jump into the middle of an ocean. It will definitely swallow you, because there are some things you need to understand back that you did not understand, which I call the basics. You need to understand the basics. To me, the basics are more powerful than the end. So I feel we need to understand the basis of broiler farming. The basis of broiler farming, which will lead us to discussing biosecurity and the things we need to do before starting a broiler farm, or things we need to do before bringing our chicks into the farm. Now, remember that your action as a farmer at day one will speak if you make profit at the end or not. If you want to achieve 1.3 kg at 3 weeks, you need to start from day one. If you want to your pullets or your layers to start laying eggs on time, you need to start from day one. Everything in poultry or animal production is garbage in, garbage out. What you serve is what it will return to you. It is a mechanism happening in the body of the chickens. So their system will always react to everything you serve them. So you need to understand what you are doing. And like I said, the first thing we need to understand is what should we do when we bring our chickens into the farm, or before bringing our chickens, or before starting poultry business in general. What are the things we need to do? The things we need to do is first to have knowledge on poultry. While it is necessary to have knowledge on disease and the rest, is to have basic knowledge on poultry, which is the biosecurity. What is biosecurity? Putting every action in place to avoid every biological component that can lead to disease in your poultry farm. So you need to understand, if I am to go back into starting a poultry farm right now, I will go on to learning biosecurity. I will master biosecurity effectively. Permit me to digress. The person that mentor you will define the quality of your output at the end of everything. So choose your mentor wisely. Back to my video, the first thing I would love to learn is biosecurity. Every biological component that can lead to disease in my poultry farm, I will learn this effectively, most especially for we that are keeping pullets. You have to avoid the lice, you have to know how to avoid the mites and some other things that can affect your chickens or make them to stop laying. So we are still on the basis of poultry farming, which can lead to our success. And what I am discussing is biosecurity, putting the pen in place and making sure you do regular checking of the whole pen. That is biosecurity. Avoiding animals that can bring disease to the pen, avoiding visitors that can introduce disease to the pen. Make sure you are having food dip. When we talk of biosecurity, what comes into the minds of people is food dip. Food dip is just a part of it. Washing your hand is just a part of it. So limiting visitors, keeping everything that can bring disease into your pen free or far away from the pen is one thing we need to understand. Secondly, on the basis of poultry farming, when you bring your pets into the pen, you need to make sure you are having the right temperature. I discussed on how to achieve 1.3 kg, and on in that video, to the end of that video, I discussed why there's a variation in result among poultry farmers. You may be having the same birds with me, we collect our birds the same day. Why am I having 1.3 kg at 3 weeks and you are still battling to meet up with 1 kg at 3 weeks? This is because of variation in our activities. Now, like what I said, my temperature may be right, you may be having the wrong temperature during brooding process. Now, if you are having a wrong temperature during the breeding process, two things will happen. Now, if the temperature is low, your birds are going to be eating more than their body is required. And as they are eating more than their body is required, they are using this to keep their self warm instead of using it to build weight and to build muscle. They will use it to keep their self warm. What if the temperature is high? The birds will not be able to eat as much as their body is required. Instead of eating to get the protein and some other nutrients from the feed, they will be drinking more of water. And no, most of the nutrients are packed in the feed, not in the water. Water will just help in the metabolic process, the breakdown and the speeding of reaction in the birds. That is what water will help to do. And for this, you need to have the right temperature during brooding process. So for somebody that's having 34 degree, 35 degree or 95-degree Fahrenheit during the brooding process will definitely succeed or hit that point, other than you that is still battling to give them charcoal, to give them what to make the room warm. And also in keeping a good temperature, you may be using charcoal, you may be using the gas brooder or the lamp brooder. What you are using does not matter. The way your pen is constructed and where you are brooding them also matters. You cannot be brooding your chickens in a large pen that can contain 1,000 capacity of birds using one a gas brooder that can just work for 1,000 capacity of birds, but the pen you are using is not the brooding pen. It is the permanent pen that is meant for the older birds, and you are just bringing down the tarpaulins, expecting that everything will be fine. Everything is not going to be fine. Yes, the birds are going to be battling with the rate of air that is coming inside, and your gas lamp, your gas brother, or your charcoal will try to balance everything, which will cause issues on the long run. Your birds might end up not giving you the weight you want, and it might end up you having disease, or your birds might end up start dying with no symptom. Yes, definitely, you might not even see any symptom when this is happening, and you might end up blaming it on the hatchery or on the suppliers. If you are a supplier, there are a lot of many things you are innocent about that will be put upon your head. But we still thank God for everything. Speaking on this, if you want a quality day old cheese, farm supply quality day old cheese and poultry equipment nationwide, Nigeria. So as we were discussing, temperature is one thing to keep in place. Temperature is one thing to keep in place. This is one of the bases in understanding success for poultry farming. The second thing is your feeding program. How do you feed your chickens? How are you feeding them? Feeding them for 24 hours for the first day is good, but what does feeding your chickens for 24 hours really means? Like I said, I've said something, or I've discussed this in my video where I taught people how to achieve 1.3 kg. Feeding your chickens 24 hours does not mean they are going to be on feed for complete 24 hours. You are going to help to create their FCR and build their crop from day one, which will help in their feed conversion ratio. So how does feeding your chickens for 24 hours, or what does feeding your chickens for 24 hours implies? It means giving them part by part, giving them a space to be able to utilize what they've eaten very well in their body, teaching their body to know how to convert every food they use or every food they eat into meat. That is when you are going to be feeding them. You give them little quantity now, you give a space of 30 minutes and give them other quantities. So this is just for the first part of the video, how to understand the basics. Now the second thing is your lighting program. Like I said, you are going to be giving them first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 24 hours of light. But as it goes by, the temperature reduces also. Before I forgot to mention this, at your best grow, the temperature reduces. So the temperature reduces, the light duration also should reduce because their body have started accumulating fats that will make their body to generate heat. So the heat should reduce, and also the duration of light should reduce. This is to enable them to rest during the night and in the morning for them to start eating again. And make sure you feed your birds as early as possible. This will help them to give you what you want on time. Like I said, there are different reasons why there are variation in result poultry farmers get. Well, let's move into the second part of this video, which is antibiotics really necessary in poultry farming? Like I said, we don't need antibiotics in poultry farming. While we still don't need antibiotics in poultry farming, it is also necessary for us to understand the use of antibiotics in poultry farming. Antibiotics has negative effect on human and also the best you are giving to them, but it also have its advantages on them. Antibiotics, like I always say, we always cover for your mistake. It does not mean it's going to eradicate the disease itself. It's just to cover up so that the birds will be more immune to that particular bacteria. It does not mean that bacteria in your pen are eliminated. What it means is that the drugs have helped your birds to overcome the disease by helping them to be more immune to this bacterial infection. So while antibiotics are not necessary in our pen, it is also good for us to understand that there are also little advantages that are attached to the use of antibiotics. But too much of everything is always bad. That is why you are advised to be more of preventive measure than going for treating measures, which might even cost you more. And the preventive measure are the basics I refer to in this video that you need to understand. The biosecurity and all those things are the preventive measures. You might be getting a drugs and you are seeing preventive dose, the normal dose. No, the main preventive measures are the things you need to do from the beginning, which I call the basics. And they are the first thing that I mentioned in this video. So are antibiotics really necessary? They are not necessary, but also they are very important in broiler or in poultry farming. But the use of antibiotics should be reduced at its minimal level. Yes, the use of antibiotics should be reduced at its minimal level. Now, speaking on these drugs or antibiotics, is it good to combine two antibiotics together? Is it good to combine two different drugs together? I will tell you no, but also I will still tell you yes, depending on the situation. Now you are having coccidiosis and you are having some sign of bacterial infection. There are drugs that are designed to treat this perfectly. There are drugs that you see for treatment of coccidiosis, and they will still mention some bacterial infection that same drugs can cure. But is it advisable to mix two different antibiotics together? Like I said, yes and no, depending on the situation. If you are having a bacterial disease and you are having a protozoa disease, yes, the situation is complicated. You can mix these drugs together, but with the advice of a professional or a vet doctor. Somebody who you believe is more professional enough should be called to verify, or a vet doctor should be called to verify what you are about to do. This is because antibiotics sometimes can be complicated because they can fight themselves just by causing too much work in the body of your chickens, which can cause liver failure or any other failure in your animals and can lead them to death. You are trying to prevent death, but on the other hand, death has occurred. So as you are treating your chickens, make sure also you make them to relax. You make them to relax as you are treating them, because as you are overworking them, it will cause them, their system, their immune is already down, and too much of drugs or combination of drugs that can cause any reaction between those drugs in them will also make their immune to be weaker and can lead to death. So it is advisable you call veterinary or a poultry expert, somebody you believe knows it very well, to teach you or to tell you what to do at the moment. Well, it is also good to give or to mix multivitamin with antibiotics when you see that your birds are not eating. Yes, it is good to give them a mixture of antibiotics and multivitamins when you feel that your birds are not eating. Because there are sometimes the situation will be critical, will be very, very critical. Your chickens will not be able to eat nor drink water. In that process, mixing antibiotics with multivitamin is very, very advisable. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time in this video. Speaking on antibiotics and mixing of drugs is a very wide topic to discuss on. Maybe in next video we try to discuss on that or elaborate more on what I am saying in this video. Moving on to the third part of this video, which is definitely the last part of this video, is how to achieve greater weight in broiler farming and how to make sure that we get more and more eggs in our laying hens. Now, if you want to get good weight in your broiler farming, you need to put the basics into action. If you listen to me very well, the basics will call for a greater result at the end of everything. So if you want to achieve 1.3 kg in 3 weeks, all those weights you heard me or other farmers give testimony online, if you want to achieve them, make sure the basics are into place. Now, apart from putting these basics into place, the next thing is to give, always make sure what your chickens are eating are very good. Make sure your chickens are eating quality feed. Make sure you are always serving quality feed to your chickens. Make sure you make them to drink vitamin freely. Yes, the reason why you are going to be making sure your chickens drink vitamin freely is because your chickens are losing vitamins every day from the little exercises they do, from the eggs they lay, from everything they do. They lose vitamins every day. Notes before I forget, you are going to be giving them vitamin, but it should be in little quantity. For every advantage there are also disadvantages, so giving vitamins to your chickens should also be in little quantity. And while there are some vitamins in the feed, the vitamins in the feed are not enough to help balance the activities of the chickens. This is why you are going to be needing some additional vitamins in their drinker or in the feed to enable these chickens to or do work at optimal performance. So these are the two things that need to be added to other ones mentioned earlier in this video. Make sure you are giving them quality feed, make sure you are giving them vitamin, and make sure you avoid stress. Avoid anything that will stress your chickens. Noise is a stress. Sweeping, even sweeping their pen, has a techniques on how it should be done. So to give you an expo, if you want to sweep your pen, make sure you are gentle in sweeping your poultry house, because some people will just come into the poultry house, they want to sweep, they'll start pursuing their chickens up and down. That is really a lot of stress. It can cause indigestion in your chickens. The reason why you see your chickens that after clearing the dirt in your poultry house, you see them pooping and you see the feed they've eaten inside the poop is because they were stressed. There was not a time for balancing of the feed they've eaten. There was no enough time for their body to really process what they ate into meat, and therefore after sweeping their pen, you will see them dropping a poop that will show even the feed they ate inside the poop. It means that there was nothing at all, nothing really happened. They ate the feed, they get the energy, but the nutrient wasn't there. This is why you need to have techniques in sweeping your pen. Make sure you avoid anything that will stress your birds at all, and you will really succeed. Understanding the basics of poultry farming, and like I said, the person you allow to mentor you will define the quality of result we get at the end of everything. So choose your mentor wisely. Choose your mentor wisely. So these are the things I thought to discuss in this video. So if you feel that you really got a valuable information from this video, please hit that subscribe button once again, turn on the bell notification so that you'll be getting our old and new video, and do well to hit that thumbs up button. Give us a thumbs up so that this video can also be suggested to other people, and you can also share this video to your friends and family so they will also benefit from what you benefited from this video. All right, thank you for watching this video. Catch up in the next one. Bye.